when I joined the Christie Minstrels, at one time or another, I became the musical director after the last of the originals left the group. And we were on the road traveling, and I got a phone call from the management company, and they said, "We've got a singer you got to listen to because he's got to take somebody's place in the Christie Minstrels." So we were actually on the way from one gig to another, and we pulled over to a phone booth on the highway, and I auditioned Kenny Rogers for the part, and we'd never met, but he was in a hotel, and I kind of assumed, well, he's probably in a hotel room where he's got some privacy, and he'd sing a little bit, and I'd say, "Oh, that sounds good. Can you sing a little louder?" Or he'd sing a little louder, and I'd say, "Let me hear some of your high notes," because it was a really high baritone part that he was going to, replace. So at one point, when I kept asking him to sing a little louder or a little higher, he said, "I'm in a hotel lobby." I said, "Don't worry about it. You got the gig. You got the chops."
So you hired him into the Christie Minstrels first?
Well, it was actually the management team knew of him because he was in a group called the Bobby Doyle Trio, and they were the opening act for the Kirby Stone band. The management team knew of him and referred him for me to listen to for the Christies. And then while we were on the road with the Christies, after a while, I was writing a lot of songs, and I thought, these aren't songs that the Christie Minstrels would sing, and I'm not sure that it would really mean much if they did, because it was years after their big success. And so I started singing a couple of the songs in between intermissions on the Christie Minstrels gigs. Terry Williams was in the group, and he would harmonize backstage with me. Next thing we know is we're in New York, and we'd sung a couple things that Kenny heard. And I said, "We're thinking of forming a band." And he said, "Well, I might be interested in that." And at the time, I had just written a ballad called "If Wishes Were Horses." And what happened was I got a session set up for a demo, and Kenny and Terry and I sang on the demo. It was a real, quick in and out because we knew the song cold by the time we got to the studio. And as soon as I heard the sound that we made together, I figured, this is really great. And now what we need to do is I think we need to have a female singer in the band to kind of round out some of the harmonies and keep a little interest, visual interest in the group. And so that's how we came together. And Thelma Camacho was the original female singer. So they had a gig up in Las Vegas with the Christie Minstrels when they were still in the Christies, opening for, I think it was Dinah Shore. And Terry and I drove up and hung out, and in the daytime we rehearsed songs, and we got about 4 or 5 songs where we had them down fairly well. And Terry's mother was the secretary for Jimmy Bowen, the producer, and she set up a meeting. We sang for him in his office with 1 guitar, 4 voices, and he said, "Go make that demo with Mike Post on Tuesday night down at Western." And we did, and the next thing we know, we had a record deal, we had major management. I think by the end of the first week of our first club gig, we pretty much had a whole team together.
Well, that must have had your head swimming.
Oh, it was. It was better than it was. It was better than a miracle because we were dumb enough to not. We probably just thought, "Oh yeah, that's how it goes," and so we weren't too thrown off base by it. But we knew we had struck a very lucky streak.